Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 6th of August. So, let's start off just looking at news events then. After yesterday morning's great rumble and sell-off, things have slowed up somewhat here. Anyway, there was some key news out. Let's just flick across here. So yesterday, final services yesterday came in for the US okay, so wasn't too bad at all, and the ISM services there at 51.4, so fractionally above expectation. Still quite solid growth at the moment. There is this concern now that the US is going to go into recession, or everything's going to slow up, hence the movement we saw yesterday. And it's all a bit of a quick worry, and it gets like this when you've had such a strong move, particularly the equity markets. I mean, goodness, how much they've pushed up. Anyway, this morning we've seen the Reserve Bank of Australia leave rates alone. They're still talking about potential increases to get their inflation under control. It's still sitting there higher than where they would like it. So there's quite a lot of chatter about that this morning, which is helping the Aussie, as you'll see in a minute. Today then we've got construction PMI for the UK. I'd rate this as a very low impact. Actually, it doesn't seem to normally have much movement at all. And then we've got 11:45 this evening, the employment data for New Zealand. So not a great deal there. So a quiet day in the news services. Actually, I should just bring that back and just check and see what we've got in the way of speakers. This is often okay. It lists all the stuff that I don't want to see, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be a lot of speakers out there as well, all having their holidays. Right, technicals then. So we've got this neck and saw this sort of head and shoulders. I drew a sort of neckline across. It was looking like Euro's got further upside here, and it may still have, although weekly pivot is hanging in down the lows here, and it is this morning just looking a little bit softer. It certainly looked reasonably decent yesterday. We saw another pivot swing there. We saw a continuation in the afternoon, but it sort of all changed come 2 o'clock, and it come off a little bit, and it's, as I say, at the moment it's looking that bit softer, with the potential for that weekly pivot to be hit the way it's moving. It just looks that bit soft, but it doesn't mean to say it will come out of this bigger pattern that's coming in. It's just, you often get a lot of volatility. Once we got such a big move coming in, the pound, and this does look softer. It's stepping itself out sideways here, out of this trend that was there. It's a real mixed bag in terms of it looks okay yesterday in terms of it's still in this upward trend. However, when I say mixed bag, it wasn't that mixed, because the rest of the time frames, the lower time frames, were all shouting sell effectively. Although it was, again, yesterday it all happened, a lot of it had happened so early, it never looked like there was too much to the downside. At the moment it's still looking like it's got further downside here. Come down to the hourlies, it's just broken its daily pivot there, heading off down towards the S1 would be a good target, but it looks like it might do it before 8 o'clock, the way it's going. Certainly looking soft there. US dollar yen. Now, we had all the traders selling it all the way up here. Now we've probably got them all starting to start buying this, although it should be a sell, but we could be getting the retracement I would like to sell into. Now, I'd love it to come back to its weekly pivot. Whether it will come that far, we'll have to wait and see, but that is certainly an area where I would like to see a bit of a reaction to get into the sell side on this. Now, I was saying in the room a short while ago, when something comes down quite so sharply, you can see it much more on this sort of daily picture, we often get this sort of dead cat bounce. You get the move up because so many traders don't believe for that it's going to fail much more, and they start looking to buy it, and so we get the resulting bounce. It's not that sharp or aggressive actually when you look at it on the lower time frames, but it's there all the same. I shall be putting a trend line across here and watching this carefully. Now it will need some quite sizable stops into if you're looking at points, but you're still only risking probably 1%. You might have to risk a little bit higher depending on the size of your account, but you need to put the right stop in. It's just bottomed out into that S3 yesterday. This is what I say when you see a market like this and it looks like it's going to carry on in the earlier part of the morning there, but it done its distance, and it had moved 400 pips yesterday. That was a big old move, and it's climbed beyond that and near enough all of it back again. It's gone from 142, let's just say, back up to 146, so nearly 146, so around about 400 pips back up again. So I'll wait carefully, but you're going to need I mean the average true range on this at the moment has gone up to 200 pips, so if you're looking at any sort of swings on this, you're going to probably need a decent 150, 200 pips away minimum, depending on the setup. Right, okay, anyway, I do like and I will like to get into a short on it. Aussie dollar seeing the benefits of the talk about higher rates possibly. It's not really doing too much. As I said a moment ago, we're really still in this descending channel-y sort of pattern. If you ignore that little spike to the downside, we really are in this sort of descending channel anyway at the moment. Now of course that could break out, but I would actually look for a break of this early morning's lows there, 5 o'clock lows, for maybe a continuation back to the pivot and beyond. We'll see, but the data isn't that strong for it overall with the Australia. I mean, it's just they can't get the inflation under under control. Canadian dollar, quite a messy old thing here. It did soften up significantly, but we saw a bit of a reversal yesterday eventually. This is betting on the reversals against the trend isn't really what I want to be doing. I mean, retrospectively, if you said, well, she shorted out yesterday, you'd have been happy, but if it had carried on, you wouldn't have been so happy. But again, yesterday when we were looking at it, it was almost into its R3 there, so overextended on the day. Now, where to today? I still think, well, there's potential upside here. The daily pivot sitting up there nicely. Potential for continuation back up on that, especially if we see the dollar just softening back again. Strengthening back again, beg your pardon. New Zealand dollar reacted to its monthly pivot there, and it's come up and it's reacted again. Now the sentiment on the New Zealand dollar remains very soft from the bigger money. I think these retracements will largely be opportunities for selling, but it's a little messy at the moment. Certainly that spike hasn't helped things from yesterday, but maybe if we start seeing it breaking down further, it's really how it reacts to this daily pivot this morning to where I'd look to try and trade it. But it's had its attempts up there. It's had a sort of a triple toppy sort of pattern, or almost a quad top there, and it's failed. I'm just sort of waiting for the breakdown. If it continues that way, now it could completely change and finally get up there, but I'm more reading it on the softer side at the moment still. US dollar Swissy, well, the Swissy gained and it held on to most of its gains. We've got a little bounce here now. Sorry, the dollar. Yeah, the Swissy held on to its gains. It's alright, get my brain in the right gear here. But how long for is another matter. The Swiss National Bank won't like all this coming back again. But it's not the time to be selling the Swissy, but maybe not yet anyway. I think there's too much risk of this continuing to the downside. I need to see something a little bit more, but it'll happen. It'll happen. We had it down here. We've had the little higher low coming down here eventually, and off it started going, and a more clearer higher low at this point here. There was plenty into the upside. Just patience here at the moment. It has come off quite strongly. Again, we could just see dead cat bounce, but we'll patience. Okay, they're the majors, cross pairs I've been looking at. I was looking at the likes of Euro CAD yesterday, but it had moved so far. There was little to be done on it, and well, there's little to be done on it at the moment. So I'll keep an eye on it later. Now I'm going to go through the rest of these in the room in a short while. Let's just look at gold. For the old regulars there, gold double top and not looking great here. Now lower high confirmed on the 4 hourly here. Bit choppy. You see that lower high confirmed clearer on the hourlies here, but it could topple over back down towards its S1. I'd leave it, if I was targeting down there, I'd sort of target a bit short of the S1 there. Haven't seen that spike yesterday. There was support around that sort of price level, but it does look like we could get a bit more of a continuation to the sell side. But in the main, it's been had been pushing up decently most of last week back towards the record highs. Oil. So oil yesterday, and maybe again today, but oil yesterday looking on the soft side here. Just looking 4 hourly wise, it's still looking soft. Now got those lower highs come through again last week. This week it was dancing around a little bit. It's close to pivot. It's not really how it reacts to it. Well, it is how it reacts. If it gets a bounce off this, I'd stand aside, but it looks to me like we could just see it break on and continue through. Right, S&Ps up this morning, up today at the moment, but not convincing here, are they? Again, bit of a bounce, and is it going to sort of continue? Certainly, technically, it softened. However, you look on the short time frame here, and it had put a higher low in there later on. A bit more of a recovery through the Asian session here. We've seen a bit of a continuation of that, but starting to roll back. Just looks very iffy. It's below its quarterly pivot there now, and from a daily point of view at the moment, I know it's only the open bar at the moment, so we can't take too much in it. It just looks that little bit softish, but never to be underestimated. Now we did see a lot of sentiment, a lot of money switching off this from last. It was the date stamp is on last Tuesday, so we sort of by that point for the previous week we'd seen money coming out of this, the institutional money coming out. So maybe they know what they're doing, and we could see a bigger correction. But you just got to be careful. It can react and overreact in quite some way. You've got mechanisms if the market sells off too quickly for buyers to buying mechanisms to be coming back in. The plunge pretension team, so you've got to be a bit careful with this. Okay, Nasdaq, similar-ish pattern, similar story. And the Dow again taking out the lows there, confirming a lower high, looking soft, just as the other markets are really now. Just looking at much softer. The FTSE off a bit this morning, really got quite mucky. I hate this, where you got this sort of channel, it's sort of gone halfway up there, then blasted the other way, and probably gone out the depth of that channel now, but it does look soft. It just becomes in that sort of very neutral sort of zone when it's just range trading. The fake, the break, exhaustion, sell back. Yeah, just looking at it at the moment, the 4 hour, if it was to close at any stage now, we'd have a bearish engulfing on the 4 hourly and potentially more downside. Just see how it shapes up next hour or so. We're just into 8 o'clock, so it's already sold down here for a little bit, but it's just how it reacts. It's run into its hourly 50 on my chart here. Just see how it reacts to the downside. There is a decent bear flag that's kicking in. Okay, and finally the DAX, same sort of picture here. It's in its sort of bear flag, much softer looking. It didn't have the pop before the drop. Came straight off last week with a panic into the markets. Holding up at the moment. It's just worth waiting. I don't want to be a long trader. I wouldn't want to be a long trader on this, but I could be looking to get back into the short side on the break of the lows here. Right, okay, that's pretty much it for me this morning. I wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you in tomorrow. Bye for now.